stop for a second. When you look at Quentin Tarantino, what do you see? You see the Oscars, the iconic dialogue, the unapologetic violence, the global fame. You see a genius. And you think that kind of genius is reserved for the lucky, the born talented. But that's a lie. Look closer. What you're seeing isn't a fluke of nature. It's the result of a process, a commitment so intense, so obsessive, it borders on madness. The real secret to Tarantino's success is that he wasn't born a genius. He manufactured one. He turned a chaotic, all-consuming obsession with movies into a structured system of world-class creation. The question isn't, do you have a passion? The question is, do you have the 5 uncommon skills to weaponize that passion? We're about to dive deep into the mind of the director who redefined cinema, and we're pulling out the blueprint. These are the 5 unique, unconventional skills that separated his dreams from the dust, and they are the exact same skills you can use to transform your own obsession into your masterpiece. Stay locked in, because the last skill is the single most powerful shift you can make in your creative life. The first skill is mastering the craft of obsession. The narrative we all love is the one about the video store clerk who made it big. But that wasn't a humble beginning. That was his secret weapon. While other aspiring filmmakers were wasting money on film school tuition and networking events, Tarantino was conducting an advanced, personalized, and free master's program. He worked at video archives. Think about that. He didn't just rent movies, he lived them. He didn't just watch films, he studied the entire history of cinema, the good, the bad, the beautiful, and the forgotten schlock. He developed an encyclopedic knowledge of genre, dialogue, pacing, and visual language that no film school could ever teach. He turned consumption into curation, and curation into creation. This skill teaches us that mastery is not about the institution, it's about the intensity of your focus. If you are truly obsessed with something, whether it's coding, cooking, writing, or building, your environment is irrelevant. Your craft becomes your school. Your daily routine becomes your curriculum. Where are you spending your 8 hours? Are you passively consuming, or are you actively dissecting the work of masters in your field? Tarantino's success proves that if you treat your obsession as your sacred work, your knowledge will eventually become undeniable. And that knowledge, that sheer volume of data, is the first skill required to ascend to genius. The second, and perhaps most rebellious skill, is embracing the vomit draft. In a world obsessed with digital efficiency, Tarantino still writes his first drafts by hand. Why? It's simple, and it's a brilliant psychological hack. He separates the 2 greatest enemies of creativity, the creator and the editor. When he's writing longhand, he's not seeking perfection. He's allowing the raw, unfiltered energy of his ideas, what he calls the vomit draft, to spill onto the page. There is no delete button, no spell check, and no instant judgment. This physical separation between his hand and the final, rigid, polished product allows him to bypass the internal editor that cripples most artists. If you find yourself constantly battling writer's block, it's probably because you're trying to edit a script that hasn't been written yet. You are applying the cold, rational mind of the editor to the fiery, chaotic work of the creator. The lesson is this: give yourself permission to be messy. Allow the idea to be bad, stupid, and incomplete in its first form. The job of the creator is to create a mass of clay. The job of the editor comes later, to sculpt the masterpiece. Tarantino uses pen and paper to create a clear physical and mental space for the flow state. Find your own longhand method, whether it's a notebook, a walk, or a recording, and start embracing the chaos of the vomit draft. The third skill is what we call dialogue as character archaeology. Most screenwriters use dialogue to advance the plot. Character A says, "We need to rob the bank tomorrow." Character B says, "What time?" It's efficient. It's boring. Tarantino, however, uses dialogue for something deeper, to excavate the human soul. Think about the most famous scene from Pulp Fiction. Vincent and Jules are in the car, on their way to execute someone, but they spend 5 minutes talking about the differences between American and European fast food. Regular dialogue, plot-focused. Did you get the guns ready? Yeah, they're under the seat. Good, let's get this done. Tarantino dialogue, character focus. You know what the funniest thing about the Big Mac is? What? They call it arroyo with cheese. This conversation has zero to do with the mission, but it tells you everything about the characters. 1, their worldliness. Vincent has been to Europe. 2, their intelligence. They're engaging in intellectual, if trivial, banter. 3, their emotional distance. They're so comfortable with impending violence that they can discuss milkshakes moments before a kill. That's character archaeology. Tarantino trusts that if he lets his characters talk about their lives, their interests, and their obsessions, their true motives and inner life will be revealed. The most valuable dialogue often has nothing to do with the plot. It has everything to do with the person. If you're finding this deep dive useful and want more blueprints for creative success, make sure to hit the subscribe button right now. Your support fuels the creation of content that breaks down these high-level mindsets. Thank you. The fourth skill is developing the rejection filter. We all know the story. Reservoir Dogs was the script that changed his life. But before that, Tarantino was facing endless rejection. Agents ignored him, producers laughed. He was constantly told his vision was too violent or too unconventional. Most people interpret rejection as a stop sign. Tarantino saw it as a filter. He once said, "If you're not rejected, you're not trying hard enough." This is a growth mindset at its most defiant. When Tarantino faced a no, he didn't see failure. He saw proof that he was operating outside the mainstream. The rejection was evidence that his work was so original, so uncompromising, that it required a new category. The common mind seeks validation. The genius mind seeks authenticity. The lesson: stop asking for permission. Every no you receive is a sign that your vision is simply ahead of its time. Use that failure not as a conclusion, but as fuel. Let rejection be the fire that hardens your resolve, separating your commitment from the casual interest of others. If your work doesn't make someone uncomfortable, it's probably not revolutionary enough. The rejection filter is a skill that only the truly obsessed are willing to master. The final and most essential skill is directing your own audience. This is the principle that anchors everything else. Tarantino famously said, "The audience I have in mind isn't some faceless blob. It's me. I'm the audience and I know what I want to see." He didn't chase trends. He didn't poll focus groups. He made the films he was obsessed with, trusting that if he loved them, there would be a cult, a dedicated audience who would love them too. In the world of online content and business, we are constantly tempted to dilute our vision to appeal to the widest possible demographic. We are told to fit into a neat, easily digestible box. But when you try to please everyone, you please no one. You erase the very thing that makes you unique. Tarantino's confidence was a self-fulfilling prophecy. Authenticity is the most powerful rebellion you have. When you dare to be fully yourself, you create something that stands out, not something that blends in. The shift? Stop trying to market your work to an audience. Start creating your work for a single critical fan, yourself. The audience will find you. They are searching for the fire of conviction, not the lukewarm broth of compromise. This is the ultimate freedom of the creator. You are the director, the writer, and the primary audience of your life's work. You don't need an Oscar. You don't need a film degree. You need the courage to apply these 5 skills. The craft of obsession. Turn consumption into intense, targeted study. The vomit draft. Separate the creator from the editor. Write messy first, perfect later. Character archaeology. Use meaningless details to excavate deeper truths. The rejection filter. See every no as a proof of your nonconformity. Directing your own audience. Create what you are obsessed with for yourself. Tarantino's journey proves that the real turning point isn't fame. It's the moment you make an absolute decision to take your passion seriously. What are you waiting for? Your breakthrough is not years away. It's one night away. The night you decide to stop consuming and start creating, to stop questioning and start committing.